Have you ever thought that you can be a great coach, but that creating a life coaching business is too challenging for you? Would you rather just do the coaching and leave the selling, administration, marketing, and bean counting to someone else? Do you feel resistance when it's time to get up and work on your coaching business? Or that you really don't know how to set up your life coaching business? Hey, this is Jeffrey T. Suey, founder of Master Coach University and CoachesTrainingBlog.com. And today I'm sharing an interview that I did with Jane Warrilow, the author of the 10-Day Coaches MBA. I met Jane at the recent International Coach Federation conference, and I knew I had to share her wisdom with you because so many coaches either struggle with the mindset of the business side of the coaching business, or they really just need some direction for their coaching business. Jane is going to give us a preview of what you'll read in the 10-Day Coaches MBA about both the mindset and the mechanics of a coaching business, including the difference between a coaching practice and a coaching business, the 6 systems that you must have in your coaching business, the crucial touch points that you should manage from the start to the completion of each coaching client relationship, the 3 big levels of coaching business from one-on-one coach to thought leader, the natural and predictable resistance that coaches and other heart-centered leaders feel around fully engaging in their coaching business and what to do about it, how to integrate your coaching identity into your role as business owner and founder of your own coaching business, and finally, how to get your own copy of the 10-Day Coaches MBA. By the way, if you're on YouTube and you want to skip forward to any of these topics, the time codes are in the description. And by the way, before we start, as I mentioned, I connected with Jane at the recent ICF conference. What is ICF? ICF, otherwise known as the International Coach Federation, is the world-recognized standard bearer and governing body for the personal and professional coaching world. They provide internationally accepted standards for coach credential levels as well as accreditation for coach training organizations such as ours. Master Coach University is approved to provide training that fulfills ICF's requirements for coach credentialing. ICF holds international conferences annually to bring the coaching world together to collaborate with and learn from each other. And this is where I had a chance to interview Jane. So let's start right now. All right, we are back at ICF Converge 2017, International Coach Federation Conference for 2017. Jeffrey Suey, Master Coach University, here with Jane Warrilow, the author of the 10-Day Coaches MBA. And I wanted to take some time with you, and I was so happy that we had a chance to meet yesterday because what I heard the models that you have created and some of the steps that coaches need to take to develop their practices into businesses, into real something that lives beyond them. I thought was really compelling, and I was wondering if you could share what you feel are the most important distinctions that you share in the 10-Day Coaches MBA that new coaches especially don't understand and haven't even thought of when they're thinking about starting their coaching practice or their coaching business.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing really to point out is that, don't copy somebody else's business, because really you want to create your business for your coaching clients. So it all begins, like you say, Jeffrey, with a coaching practice. So, I think the assumption is that you're a really great coach, and that's the foundational piece of your practice. And then you build your practice around. Now, we make a distinction between a coaching practice, which is formed by one-on-one clients, to building a business that is really scalable and you can leverage it as you kind of go to higher income levels and greater reach from your business. So this is really showing a systemic approach to how you build a integrated business system for your coaching. And we work on 6 microsystems. So think about this for a moment, because it's really important that, as a coach, you understand there are 6 systems that you need in your business. Okay. Now, the first microsystem is your client attraction system. Now, this is how you get a predictable sales flow into your business. Then we have the client conversion system. This is how you go about having conversations that get more people to say yes to your coaching. Then we have the onboarding system. This is about how do you take that initial excitement that your clients have and really keep that momentum going as they come into coaching with you so that they don't bail early, right? And then we have the client nurture system, because today it's no longer enough to be a great coach. You actually have to be a good business leader as well. And what that means from a client experience is that you don't just be great in your coaching conversations, you're actually great in the way that you do business. So you give your clients a real quality of service and experience, and you really add value. So we like to think of this client nurture sequence as how can you add value as you're doing your coaching and what you're doing. So it's all about value creation. Then we also teach coaches that, to be successful in today's market, a lot of clients are demanding more than just coaching. So if you can build a body of work around your coaching, then you start to have more impact, you can reach more people, and you can also make sure that when your coaches, in between coaching sessions, there's a bit of a drop-off sometimes with momentum in terms of change and transformation.
Yeah.
And so if you have resources, that can keep the change sustainable in between coaching sessions. Then we have client evaluation. Now, this isn't just a form where you say, how did we do? This is a system that you can use to get critical feedback to enable you to stay client-centric in your coaching business and continuously evolve. Because here's the thing, everything's changing so fast that what was successful, what was effective last year, is not going to be the same next year. So we've got to stay close to our clients so that we know exactly what they want from us.
Okay, so just to review these 6 systems, because that was a lot. I want to make sure we're clear on that. So the first one is client attraction.
Yes.
This is basically the lead flow of people that are actually interested in working with you, right?
Yes.
Second one is the converting them into actual clients.
Yes.
Third is the onboarding.
Yes.
And that's a huge one that a lot of coaches miss, I think, because I have coaches that we work with on a regular basis. I thought they signed up and then the next day they're gone. It's like we want to create that momentum.
Yes.
The fourth one is the client nurturing.
Yes.
Fifth one, remind me what the fifth one was.
Resources library.
Okay, so resources for in-between coaching sessions and something beyond that's valuable beyond just the coaching that you might give. And then the sixth piece was
evaluation.
Okay, so actually getting evaluated by the client, is that right?
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
what this really is from a high level picture, if you take a step back from your business,
Okay.
what this really is looking from the first touch point with a person when they meet you. It might be a networking event, but the first time they come into contact with you, and remember it could be live like a networking event, or it could be online where they just see a post of yours.
Sure.
But from that very first touch point, you've already thought about the journey of transformation you want to take them on, from that very first touch point to well after they stop being your client. After you finish the coaching contract, you're still going to be adding value, because what you want is you want them to be a source of referrals for you. You want them to be an advocate for your business. So this is not just about getting clients. This is actually about getting advocates, champions, people that will go and tell other people about you and your coaching.
Yeah, and that is so important, because if all you're doing is just creating a client and then they're gone and they don't bring you more clients or more interest or more of an audience, then your job is just as hard as it was the first day you started coaching. You got to go start again from scratch. So it makes total sense. Now you mentioned, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, those different levels of a coaching business.
Yes.
And let me make sure I remember these. It was the first one was just the one-on-one coach.
Yes.
And I seem to remember that the second one had to do with more leveraged coaching, and then the third one was when it's beyond your coaching. Can you elucidate that a little bit more?
Cool, sure. So it really starts with the coaching practice. That's really building, a successful business around one-on-one coaching. Now we make a distinction, because that will get you to a ceiling of success and a
Sure.
ceiling of income and reach and impact. So then we cross the threshold into now you're ready to build a coaching business. Now this is where you can build a body of work, you can start to systematize, and your business now, you're building ready to be scalable. So you can actually go up to about $750,000 with your business.
Okay.
And then there's the next threshold of change. Now there are a few of us that want to become thought leaders, that want to innovate, want to lead conversations within the industry, and not only change our clients' lives, but potentially change the industry.
Wow.
So those are the people that need to go beyond coaching, because now these are the authors, the speakers, the thought leaders of the future.
So in a way, they're making a contribution or coaching, so to speak, through a thought leadership process, through a conversation that's beyond what a coach would directly do with a group or with an individual?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
And then what that means is at that level, then the one-on-one coaching becomes the elite package that you give to your clients, because it's, at that point you've probably got other coaches working for you. You may have licensed your material because your body of work's already been built in the business stage. And so when you get to that point, it really is now about how do you really lead the conversation from there.
Now, some of the coaches that I've talked to about building a coaching business or even a practice, one of the kind of resistance points that I've found is, I'm a great coach. The value is all about the coaching. I want to focus on coaching. I think that's a great way to get started, maybe develop some clients. But I think a lot of coaches have hesitancy about focusing on the business part of the business, not because they don't see that, okay, well, this could make me money or something like that, but because their identity is so deeply seated with who they are as a coach, and it's almost like they're breaking with who they really feel themselves to be. Like it's almost like uncomfortable or inauthentic, or it's out of place for them to be a business person or to be a practice builder and to do these things that, there's a lot to this, and we really got to dive in. How do you support somebody who really needs to do this, but they feel that disconnect? How do you, because as a heart-centered leader, as someone who's a phenomenal coach, who's worked, for years and years, as somebody who's really given from herself as a coach, how do you make that transition into business and take that on as an identity and still connect deeply with that and feel comfortable or authentic as you're really building the mechanics of business?
Right. So here's what I want you to know. If we'd have been talking 10 years ago, I think it'd be very true to say coach is over here and business leader is over here.
Yeah.
And therefore it's almost like polarities, and you can feel the
Right.
tension between. It's almost like you've got to be very different people.
And in my opinion, they're very different worlds. It's like you could build a great business and be a horrible coach. You could be a phenomenal coach and have a horrible business. So, but that's the external side. So please continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so to me that was 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Now leadership has shifted massively, and it's continuing to go in this direction. And so what we're now seeing is these polarities with this tension and conflict between is starting to move this way. And what's happening is now we're getting an integration of coaching and leadership. So now for you to hold coach as your identity and then think about how you lead as a coach, that's really all your business needs. Because what it is now, it's this integration. And it's actually very coach-like to be a successful leader today, even if you've never been a certified coach. You see, it's the same skills, it's the intuitive skills, it's the communication, it's the heart-centeredness, and it's also about getting to your own edges, your learning edge, the leading edge, whatever your edges are. That's very much a part of leadership today. But that's what we do as coaches. We take people to their edges. And if you're going to take anyone to their edges as a coach, you've got to model it yourself.
Wow.
So I really do get the fact that for some coaches, they've got to get out of their comfort zone to build their business. But I also think this is our calling. Because if you really believe as a coach that you have the skills to make a real difference in our world, I think it's your responsibility to get that out as much as you can. And if that means building your business, if that means you have to have a deeper understanding of it, yes, it doesn't mean you have to do everything. What it means is you have to have an understanding so you can recruit the right people. As you're growing, you can get the right team together.
Okay.
You don't have to do all the pieces, but it's your business and it's the systems within it that give you the freedom to coach and give you the reach and the impact that you want.
So the mechanics of business is something that will be a foundation for me as a leader, leading my business, leading my clients, just like the mechanics of coaching would be a foundation for that. Each of them have their own mechanics. My discipline is to master those mechanics, but it's not about the mechanics. It's about being a leader, and I can be a leader as a coach. I can be a leader as a business person. Those are just horses I can ride on, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think there's a really important piece of advice here. I mean, if you're going to do business building, make sure that you're learning from a coach, because we get too many coaches that have been burnt by internet marketers and other big dreams on the internet.
Yep.
They know nothing about the coaching industry, and therefore, in some ways they're selling snake oil. And we've had a lot of coaches that have lost a lot of money for no rewards. So that's the key piece, is how do you build a business that's successful but is very high touch, is very coach-like, and really makes the most of your coaching skills in the way that you get clients and convert them and then take them into the business where they're going to have an incredible transformation.
Wow, that makes so much sense. I think one of the big fears that coaches have, and I think one of the big challenges I've seen with some coaches who have gone off the rails in their business, has been that they became somebody that they weren't. They actually did the very thing that other coaches resist business. Is the reason why they resist business, is that they ended up buying into something that really had nothing to do with them, and they thought that was business, and they thought that was their business, and ultimately it took them into a realm where they either had to not do that anymore, and it ended for them, or it was even worse. They became somebody that they weren't, and couldn't actually fulfill the real dream that this was about. So that makes a lot of sense. Anything else that you think would be valuable for coaches when they're thinking about business that either you teach in the book, or that just if you could connect with coaches that are struggling with that piece that you think is really important for them to know?
So when I started, I talked about growing your own business, your unique business. So I think actually the journey starts within. It starts with really knowing who you are, knowing what your value is, so that you can communicate that with clarity, really. So for me, the coaching journey, just like the leadership journey, because I'm an executive coach, I do work with leaders as well. So when I talked about these polarities coming together, that's happening from the position of the coach, but it's also happening from the position of the leader, who is having to learn coaching skills to be successful as a leader today.
Okay.
So I think it really is about getting really clear about who you are, what your strengths are, what the value is that only you can bring. And this is how you eliminate the competition, because there's nobody else like you in the world. So if you can embrace that and have that as the foundational element of your business, no one can touch you, because there's only one you. And that's what you need to fully express in your business.
Wow, that's a fantastic message. So appreciate you sharing that with the coaches that are going to see this. And thank you so much for the contribution that you've made. I know to your clients, but also now as a thought leader to anybody who's going to read your book. So once again, the book is The 10-Day Coaches MBA. And how can they get this book? Where can they find it? Where can they buy it? Where can they get access to that as a resource?
Okay, so this is on Amazon, and
Okay.
it's currently on Kindle. So there's only a few countries in the world that don't get access to Kindle because Amazon don't allow it. So if you're in the East, unfortunately, you can't get it there. And you need to come to their website, which is coachesbusinessschool.com.
Okay, so coaches, coachesbusinessschool.com.
Yes.
Fantastic. Really great. So check out the 10-Day Coaches MBA, coachesbusinessschool.com, and thank you so much for the help that you've given today as well.
Jeffrey, thank you.
You too. Once again, this is Jeffrey T. Suey with Master Coach University and CoachesTrainingBlog.com, and I hope that you took some great value out of my interview with Jane today. So what's your vision for creating a life coaching business? Which of those 6 systems that Jane and I talked about do you most need to build or improve? Where are you on your journey of synthesizing your coaching identity with your coaching business role? I'd love to hear your feedback, so make sure that you leave a comment with your thoughts or questions. Thanks for watching this video. Like it if you thought it was cool, and subscribe for even more of these videos. If you want to pick up your own copy of the 10-Day Coach MBA, then I put a link to both Jane's website and the book's Amazon listing in the description. By the way, you can also grab your own free step-by-step 30 days to become a coach video toolkit. Just go to coachestrainingblog.com right now to get your 30-day coaching blueprint videos. You'll learn how to change your client's life in 45 minutes, other advanced coaching and practice building techniques, and more. Just go to the link that I give you here and in the description, and you can get access to everything all for free. I'll see you there.